I love Vampire Survivors. I played it almost to completion, and I uploaded a unique stage playthrough video every day for 369 almost consecutive days. It's a simple, fun, rewarding, and addictive little game. I don't know how much the addictiveness of the game counted, or how much my personal goal of posting a video of it every day contributed. But on the face value, if you take the game and distill its virtues in a sterile Word document, or try to explain it to a colleague during the subway commute, away from the flashy graphics and sound effects, it's not enough to warrant this kind of time investment. And yet, I sunk 300 plus hours on it, according to Steam. Cyberpunk 2077 and its DLC, complete with 1 terabyte of gameplay recordings, so no dialogue or cutscene skipping, can be 100% explored within 100 hours. So what gives? It could be the author's prior professional experience within gambling industry. It could be the mobile gaming mechanics it draws its inspiration from. The fact is, the behavioral psychology exploitation it employs has already been acknowledged, but only in passing. And what I think is problematic is the fact that the game and its author are presented as some kind of white hat example of psychological exploitation in games. But is it, really? Is Vampire Survivors truly benign? To get to the bottom of that, we need to go back to the source, to the forever evolving laboratory of behavioral psychology manipulation that is mobile gaming. If you want to research generational changes in a species, you don't do it on a bunch of elephants that will possibly outlive you. You do it on some obscure and short-lived fly that lives its entire life in a couple of days. That's what mobile gaming is. High volume, low cost, rapid iteration experimentation on getting people's money for experiences they believe they receive for free. If it wouldn't be this devious, it would be absolute genius. And here I ended up scrapping 3 pages of analysis, starting with how deceiving mobile gaming ads lure you in, and ending with how freemium games keep you hooked and paying for as long as they can. But in the end, I realized I dove in way too deep. Completely digressed from Vampire Survivors, and the whole thing started to feel like the anarchist cookbook for more complete freemium games. And that's not what this is about. Behavioral psychology manipulation relies on exploiting the dopamine-driven reward system in our brain, in order to keep us in a continuous cycle of anticipation and gratification. But it's not only about pleasure, it's also about pain. Because what people might not do for pleasure will definitely do to avoid pain. The game itself cannot give you direct pain. That will lose you as a client very quickly. But it can set up situations and rewards in such a manner that we perceive some actions and especially inactivity as a loss. Loss translates as pain, and people tend to avoid pain, so they will alter their habits to avoid it in the future. In my view, there are 4 structural pillars that a successful freemium rests on: pleasure manipulation, pain manipulation, social manipulation, and microtransactions tactics. How, when, and how much money to ask of you. Now it's obvious Vampire Survivors completely lacks the microtransactions pillar. You pay for the game upfront, and then you get all the content included, bar most of the later DLCs that are also quite cheap. So that's out. However, in my opinion, the game is also significantly underpriced. From its original early access price of $3 and up to the regular $5 outside constant bouts of good deals. The game destroys everything in the price bracket on the Steam market as bang per buck. This was probably not intentional and may stem from the author being self-conscious about the game's humble origins on itch.io. Regardless of intentions, as a consequence, the barrier of entry is very low, and once the game's notoriety grew enough, it then spread like wildfire. So, intentional or not, the price point weighed in a lot in its success. Vampire Survivors also completely lacks the social manipulation aspect of freemium games. Having global leaderboards is not enough to constitute a social engine driving engagement. There are no public cosmetic unlocks, there is no avenue for status comparison between peers, there are no recurring social events. You have a cooperative mode, but that's more bring your own friends, and doesn't establish social hooks exclusive to the game itself. I would also say the game lacks the pain manipulation pillar. I mean, there is a little bit of pain control, because contrary to popular belief, the game isn't that easy on the first playthrough. In the first runs, you can and probably will get easily overwhelmed by the scripted waves of enemies specifically programmed to wipe an unsuspecting player out. On top of that, the game has intentional slumps, or predefined moments where the progression takes more than usual XP points to get past. and thus delays the moment when you can get that critical upgrade for weapons that may put you over the edge. But here the roguelike aspect of the game saves the day, because even a failed run gives you enough resource gains to enable you to build up and re-enter a stage stronger than the last time, and eventually succeed. So, we're left with the pleasure manipulation pillar, but rest assured this is potentially the strongest from the toolkit. Vampire Survivors has very basic controls that are lifted straight from the mobile world that inspired it. So, there is very little low cap on effort, while the game itself takes care of the hordes of enemies coming for the slaughter. Reverse bullet hell also means reverse skill requirements. Whatever skill is left is almost exclusive to the planning, choosing and upgrading of stats between runs. And with minimal awareness of the times when the most dangerous waves of each stage are set, the rest is pure spectacle that can be enjoyed as continuous pleasure. There is lots of movement, lots of colors, and plenty of sparkle. And sound, a wall of pleasurable sounds. That continuous stream of delight is broken only by moments of mini-gambling. At every level of experience gained, you get to choose from random prizes, either get a new weapon, a new perk, or upgrade existing ones. On top of that, at predefined moments, hero enemies will spawn that when defeated will drop treasure chests that will give you variable rewards, from substantial to massive or even game-breaking, complete with specific music and animation that precedes the final reveal of what you've won. Remember this sound? What about this one? Gambling 101. It's Pavlovian programming that makes the player immediately anticipate the rewards and enhance the dopamine generation. But this is about it. It's not much of an indictment, but there is enough here for people to feel there are some kind of enhancements going on. Taking everything into consideration, my take is that Vampire Survivors has almost nothing in common with a mobile freemium game, and some overlap with the mechanics used in the gambling industry. But instead of enhancing your appetite for risk, it just enhances your enjoyment of rewards, building on an established game mechanic with very little risk or inherent loss. Would I call this a white hat example of gambling mechanics? Well, no, because even though it didn't go all in, pun intended, and didn't exploit all aspects of gambling industry trickery for mischievous reasons, it did have something to gain from dipping its toes in even just a little bit. It gained quick notoriety and stood up tall in a sea of established multi-directional shooters that felt the same, and indeed, a lot of them looked like the better propositions, at least at first glance. It was one of the first, on the PC at least, that reduced the control scheme to the bare minimum, eliminating the second stick or fire button and thus the necessity to focus the player's fire. But it was not at all original when it came to goals and gameplay mechanics overall. Yet, only Vampire Survivors will ever remain in most people's memories, and I don't think there is another multi-directional or arena shooter that ever came close to its popularity. On top of that, I feel uneasy due to the fear that pulling stunts like this, very public and very successful, would normalize freemium and gambling mechanics in indie PC video gaming. So, is Vampire Survivors truly benign? I don't know. I still love Vampire Survivors. Probably more than I should. And that's the part I have a problem with. I love it because it's good, or because it tricked me.